I travel a lot for work, which means I need a camera bag that I can depend on. What I really need is something that is durable, something that I can squeeze in tight places, something that's compact enough for travel and can fit on an airplane. With all of those things combined, it's really hard to find a bag that fits all of that criteria and stays in a relatively decent budget. Enter the Ulanzi BP09. Now let's just back things up. This bag is not without its flaws, and for $110, I can overlook a good portion of them because really it's a lot better than what I used to use, which is my Amazon Special Mosiso. I've never even heard of that brand up until I bought the bag itself. However, this one does everything that that bag couldn't and more. Jumping straight into it, this finish is like a nice satin black. However, if you can hear that, it kind of reminds me of like those holographic cups that you found with like your favorite sports teams. They're from the early 2000s. If you know what I'm talking about, then you really know. That brings me back to my childhood. Like we would use those cups year round up until the holidays. That's when we'd take the glassware out. And really that's like, those are good memories, but enough down memory lane. I want to really talk about this bag because there's a lot to say. Now, this bag has a 22 liter capacity, which I don't really understand why we always measure bags in liters. Coming from America, I would measure this maybe in gallons, and that comes out to about 6 gallons, which even then, I really don't understand. Like, I don't understand the whole measuring things and how much volume they have, but maybe as I say that, volume does make sense. To put that in layman's terms, this bag can hold 2 camera bodies, 4 average size lenses. I don't know what they're saying is an average size lens. My Viltrox 13mm feels pretty average in my hand, but I don't really know how to gauge that. It feels average to me. In my case, I have 1 camera body and 2 camera lenses, so I don't really know if it can hold all of those because when I'm filling this thing up, I'm filling it with all of the junk that I need. Like I do a lot of photo and video work, so I'm constantly swapping out gear. And honestly, I overpack. I'm gonna be honest about all that. I know there are things in this bag that I took with me that I did not use. I know there were things that I was like, I am definitely going to use this, like my lens filter. Never touched it. It just stayed in the bag the entire time. Now, if you did want to pack everything in there that you possibly could, you can get up to 33 pounds worth of gear. Me personally, I'm gonna say that an average of like 18 to 20 pounds of gear is pretty solid. At least in my case, I have a pretty bad back. And so I filled this thing up when I weighed it on my scale. I think I was sitting at like 17.5 pounds, which for me was more than enough. I'm probably going to dial it back going forward and really use what I need to. However, this bag can really carry it all. What I really do like about this bag though is how much it can accommodate. So for example, on the sides, you have these cool adjustable, I don't really know what to call them, but they're like, they're cup holders. And so you can put cups in them, or you can even put tripods in them, which is also a really cool bonus because if you have a bunch of tripods or maybe compact travel tripods, I don't, so I can't relate. But if you wanted to, you could, because on the side, you also have this little clip. And wow, it's actually really hard to get out.
That's what she said.
This clip goes onto the side. It's not your normal like buckle clip, but instead you just clip it on to the side. It's got this little hook here. And then once you do it, you just pull on the tab and tighten it all up. I like it. Instead, I'm using it for literally my camera lanyard, my camera strap. So that's what houses that one. On my other side, you have another one of those. And so again, you can put a water bottle here, another tripod. In my case, this is where I stuff my headphones or my lanyards. Obviously, the biggest reason that you would buy a camera bag like this though, is what it looks like inside. And that is pretty cool. Now, you're listening to me take off these little straps that hold everything in, but inside is where things are really fun. So this thing is extremely customizable. It's fully modular. On the side, there's a little quick access door that is for your camera, and you can adjust that as you see fit. So in my case, I have the Sony a6700. I usually pair that with a 17 to 70 Tamron lens, and I can comfortably lay it on its side. And really, it gives me so much room for everything else. So I can put my lens in here, I can put microphones in here. So I usually take a wireless microphone as well as a shotgun microphone. I have my Ulanzi tripod. I have a bunch of travel accessories. So like I have an adapter, batteries, you name it, I'm stuffing it in here.
That's what she said.
You can change this up as much or as little as you want to. So if you want to move things around because everything is Velcro based, you are set. They're also really well padded, especially the ones that are in the middle. They support a lot of weight. My other camera bag was very flimsy, very cheap. I want to say I only paid like 50 or 60 bucks for it. So I'm not too surprised by any of that. However, this bag for only being that $100 price range is really high quality. Something inside of here that I really want to point out is the fact that you can also hide an AirTag. I currently have this little tab in here showing you where it is. However, now that I'm filming this video, I am going to cut that out. That way, if someone does steal my bag, they don't know where I'm hiding it. On the back flap of the bag, you have these 2 pouches that have zippers. They're mesh, so you can see through them. That's where I put my SD cards as well as like an external battery. There's also another pouch that you can put like documents and whatnot in. And then on the very back, there is a sleeve for your laptop. Now it says you can actually fit a 15-inch laptop. However, I was able to put my 16-inch MacBook Pro in here without any issue, never felt like it was unsafe. I know that maybe like the top 1 inch of it is shown. However, in every material that I've seen for this bag, even the 14-inch laptops that they advertise this with, you can still see the side of the laptop. So I don't know that it really makes a difference going from like a 14, 15, or 16-inch. It really just comes down to like the width, because they measure like diagonally, and you guys, you get the idea. Now, there's also a second compartment of this bag. Again, it has 2 mesh areas. One of them at the top is also divided, so it's really 3 mesh areas. This is where I put like medicine, charging cables, business cards, whatever you think is going to be like light and that you won't access all the time, or maybe you do want to access all the time. This is where you can do it. It also has another zipper over here, so it's not a very deep pocket. It's about the depth of a hand, or at least my hand, which is probably about 6-7 inches long. I don't know. Can you guess that from looking at it on a camera? I don't know. Beats me. On the front though, there's one more zipper. However, this thing is useless. I don't fit anything in there. I put my train tickets in here because when I went to Europe, we got like the public pass, and so I was able to use all the public transportation. That's where I put my train pass, and that was the only thing that fits, because unfortunately, when you fill up this bag all the way, this little pocket on the front is not big enough for literally anything. Like, it is probably the most useless thing on this whole bag, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I think it's useless, but if you guys think of a better use for it, let me know in the comments below. The bag obviously is very nice. It has a nice outer shell. It's actually kind of reinforced. I don't know if it's an aluminum or a composite or whatever it is, but it has a nice frame to it. You can actually just sit the bag up, minus the fact that it's on the edge right now. You can just sit the bag up and it just sits. I'm not holding it. It's not braced against anything. You guys are gonna just have to take my word for it because you can't see it. But yeah, it sits here on its own because it has that frame around it that supports it. It gives it a little bit of weight, a little bit of oomph. This bag is also super sturdy because unfortunately, I did not listen. So when I went and I was touring through Switzerland, we were going through this like tunnel system. It was like an old sewer or sewage thing. I don't really understand what it was exactly, but it was a very narrow corridor. It was probably about, yay wide at the very beginning, and then it slowly sloped inward. And so I'm like, shoulders squished together. And sure enough, they're telling everyone, turn to your side so you can get through. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm skinny enough. And yep, I wasn't skinny enough. Go ahead, roll the clip. Ow. So because of that, unfortunately, I scratched up my bag. There's some scratches on the front of it. Nothing tore up. The bag is held up very well. I did use it for a total of like 9 straight days, and it was 8-hour-long days. So they were long days. I put this bag through its paces. The only 2 real signs of damage are on the front, there are some scratches that didn't wipe off. And then on the sides, I destroyed one of the zippers. It's not like through the zipper by any means, but it is scuffed up to the point where I did notice that the paint finish was coming off. So that's my fault. Maybe I'll, try to repaint it or something, but the bag otherwise has held up really good. Like, I genuinely thought that I was going to rip it coming through that hole. Hole? Door? Door hole. Doorway. That's what I'm thinking of. Now, this bag obviously is not without its flaws, and honestly, some of them are bigger than others. Comfort-wise though, this bag is really good. I will say all the padding on it makes it really useful for long days. Again, I was having like 8-hour days. I was doing this for several days nonstop, and the padding on everything is very nice, very plush feeling. On the shoulder straps, it's very thick. I wish it was maybe a little bit thicker. Beggars can't be choosers on that one, but for what it is and for what you're paying, you can't complain too much. On the back though, so I have a bad back. I actually hurt myself right before I went to Europe. I was playing Topgolf and I twisted something. it doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great today, but this backpack didn't really make it worse because I was a little concerned about the padding. When I first got it, it feels a little firm. Like as I'm sitting here pushing on it now, it feels firm, but when it's on your back, it's very cushioned, especially once you have a little bit of weight in the bag. And so you can feel it compress a bit. I don't know. I thought it was super comfortable, but that's my opinion. This bag isn't perfect by any means, and I kind of stated that in the beginning of the video because there are some looming flaws. First and foremost, the biggest one is travel compatibility. So I called up United because that's who I was flying with, and I said, hey, here are the dimensions of my bag because Ulanzi doesn't list it anywhere. And they pretty much told me flat out, your bag will not fit under the seat of our plane, which that's not the end of the world for a lot of people. However, if you travel with a bag as a personal item and then you travel with like a carry-on suitcase that you put overhead, now you're maxed out. On a lot of budget airlines like Spirit and Frontier, or if you're on like European airlines, they're very strict on what you can take baggage-wise. So they have a very strict baggage allowance. Now, this bag only on one of my 4 flights fit under the seat, and that was on a brand new plane. Like they said the plane was only out for like 2 years or something. All the other flights, I had to put this overhead. So now I was putting this overhead along with my other carry-on. Huge no-no, by the way. You're not supposed to do that. I didn't get in trouble for it, and I'm not saying that I'm above the rules by any means. However, I was really surprised that they didn't say anything. Granted, there was a lot of space on all my flights, so that's probably the reason they didn't, budge on that policy. But in the event that you're on a sold out flight or you're on a budget airline, that is something to consider. The other thing, and again, this goes with travel, is this little luggage strap on the back. So they advertise it. They say you can just slide it over the handle of like your big luggage pieces so you can travel in the airport at ease. No, you can't. This strap is not big enough for your luggage. Now, because there's the padding here, you're supposed to be able to like slide it under. However, when your bag is full and you have all that weight pulling down, that strap has a lot of tension on it. I couldn't get it to slide over, so it was just easier to either carry it from this little side handle or to just wear it on my back like a normal backpack for literally all the time. Now, because the backpack is comfortable, it didn't faze me too much. However, if I wanted a little bit of a break, I may as well just set the backpack on the ground because there was no way I was putting it on a suitcase. Last major thing, but this was kind of a deal breaker for me in a lot of ways. So when I saw this online, they don't advertise by any means that you can fit a gimbal. However, there's a PG Y-Tech that you can fit the gimbal in. I wanna say it's the One Mo, which sounds like one more. You can actually fit a gimbal in that because it expands. This bag, I thought with all of those like strap divider things, whatever they're called, the expansions, I thought it would expand a little bit, which wouldn't work out if I was trying to slide it under a seat because that was half my issue. But this backpack doesn't fit a full-size gimbal. So I have the DJI RS4. I was able to technically get it in that front area, that front storage, and it shut, but it really stressed out the zipper. So much so that this is a brand new bag and I really didn't want to risk it. But it technically fits. It's just not comfortable. And then to try to get it in and out while you're like on a shoot or trying to film something, and if you're trying to pack up real quick, it's not gonna work. It took me several minutes to like disassemble the whole thing, shove it in, and then I'm holding down the top and trying to zip the sides. No, not recommended. 0 out of 10 on that one. The last little thing, and I know that I said the other thing was the last one, but again, that little front pouch, it's useless. You may as well not even have it. So unless you wanna use it for like paperwork or a passport or something, may as well get rid of it. I know that that sounds like a lot of nagging and a lot of complaints. However, this bag overall is really good. Like there are very few things, and those are things that maybe affect me more than the average user. I want to be able to use my gimbal more. I paid a lot of money for it. I need to be able to justify that purchase, and I haven't been able to. However, I'm working on that in the future. Maybe I'm gonna buy like a Zhiyun M3S, and that'll be my travel gimbal, and then I'll use my other gimbal for domestic stuff, even though I don't do a whole lot of domestic stuff other than like these. But maybe I'll start using it more. So maybe I'll use it for like B-roll. This bag is really good for normal traveling. Now, again, airline traveling, maybe not so much, but everything that I did once I was over there in Europe and I was, traveling through Switzerland and Germany, I didn't have any issues. I loved the bag. It was super comfortable. There was never a moment where I was like, man, I really need to put this down. I need a break. I didn't find that, at least not myself. Is the bag worth $110? Absolutely. It is a great mid-tier bag. It is not the best of the best. It is not the top of the line. There are bags that cost like $300. There's bags that cost $500. I know the Peter McKinnon bag is what everyone raves about. I just don't have the money for that, and most of my viewers probably don't either. If you do want to pick it up, I'm going to link it in my description below, but let me know what you guys think about this bag. Are you interested in picking up a bag like this? Maybe you already have this bag, or maybe you have a better bag to recommend. And if you do, drop that in the comments below because I'm intrigued to see what you guys use on a daily basis. This is probably what I'm gonna use for the next year or so, but I do wanna try out maybe that PGY Tech bag. I hope I'm saying that right. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like the video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.